What's up, builders? So Voiceflow dropped a new update this week, and it is centered around transcripts and evaluations. So those of us that are managing production agents and watching conversations, you know that as you start to kind of scale this up with number of conversations, it becomes pretty tricky and difficult to just read through all of these transcripts. Businesses are trying to extract specific data. How is this agent handling certain scenarios? Are we getting the actual value that we want from this agent being deployed into our workflows? So there are all of these like supportive workflows that are starting to build around these agents. And what I have done up to this point is start extracting some of this stuff out of Voiceflow, putting it into like a particular data layer, and then using something like N8N and, LLM chain, like node, like read transcript, do this, and then put it back into the data layer. So there was all of this extraction, messing around, pinging around to different platforms to try to give businesses what they want. Now that's kind of changing a little bit here with Voiceflow's update, because you can do a lot of this now directly on the platform tied into it. And it's a really nice feature, a long time coming for a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to go through some of these updates here so we can talk about what is it? How is it useful? So one thing to note, this is the new transcript view. You can click legacy view and kick out to the old school transcripts at any time. This is the new view. And this starts logging on July 28th. So if you're opening this up and you're like, wait, I know I have way more transcripts in here. Like this agent has way more than 6 conversations. It's because the new transcripts did not start kicking in until July 28th. So just a heads up, like don't freak out. All your transcripts are still there. And also voice, if you read the docs and some of the announcements, all of your transcripts should be accessible via all of the legacy API stuff moving forward. They don't have any current plans of deprecating those endpoints. But anyways, okay. If we click on a transcript here, you'll see the actual transcript conversation back and forth here. We get a little additional metadata inside of here. We can also hit the left and right arrow keys and kind of just cycle through these. You can also see how many credits are being consumed. This particular conversation consumed 46 Claude 4 Sonnet, which is the model that I have tied to this, credits, which is really nice. I'm actually going to swap to a different production agent that I have online here. Now this agent has several conversations a day. You'll see in addition to this, information in the center here with platform and user ID and credits, there's evaluations here. And this is the second part of this particular release. Now I have a few evaluations set up in here. Actually, before we get into that, let me show the thing. So this is all web chat, right? You can see platform, chat widget, chat widget, chat widget, chat widget. This is a chatbot that is live. What about for voice agents? If I swap to this voice agent, you'll see this platform is Twilio. What's nice when you click here, you'll notice in addition to the normal stuff that you see in chat, the top, we actually have a saved audio file here that I can play back here. If I click play, hopefully you'll be able to
Hi, welcome to Precision Door. My name is
hold my
Grace.
speaker up
Would
to
you
the
like to
microphone.
schedule an appointment with one of our technicians?
Hi, Grace. Yeah, my garage door is stuck.
I understand. A stuck garage door can be frustrating. Just to make sure I direct you correctly, is this garage door at your home or a commercial property?
Yeah, it's my house.
So you can get real-time logging of these particular conversations for your review. You can also change the playback speed up here. There are some controls here, and also download the file, which is a nice touch. Now, in order for you to get this, if you're wondering, it's like, why is this not populating here naturally? You actually do have to go and click this particular button and toggle on save call recordings. And then there is a little bit of a lag time before this actually kicks in and updates. So just go ahead and toggle it on and then be patient. It should kick in several minutes. So one other particular thing of note, if you open up the transcript at the bottom here, it's hidden, but you actually get your full logs. If you click this drop down menu, I can see launch and all of this stuff. My head is kind of blocking some of this. But for those of you that have advanced agents that are doing a lot of API calls and functions and integrating in tools, and your agent nodes are calling tools, and you want to wonder what's going on in the individual conversations, you can actually click this from the transcript view and get an idea. And if you click these items, it'll replace the transcript with, hey, boom, this is a time zone offset. So I have a function call setting time zones, because obviously if you're talking about different parts of the country, it's important that you're getting the timing right on this, stuff like that. So what I was doing previous to this was I basically had was hitting the transcript endpoint and trying to extract all of the traces and parse through this. I was dumping stuff into Google Gemini, which has a large context window. I was like, hey, let's look through this error. Having all of these logs organized like this per each conversation is a huge quality of life upgrade for us as builders inside of the platform, because we can get really granular on what is going on inside of these agents during the conversation. So make sure that you take full advantage, and you can also filter and search through these logs as well. Great features. I've been wanting this for a long time. Okay, back to evaluations. I always get sidetracked in these videos. Okay, what is an evaluation? So I mentioned before previously, it's like transcript comes in. I want to extract some pieces of information from this transcript, because it is not efficient for the organization to sit here and review each one of these individually when you've got, hundreds of these conversations, and for large organizations, thousands upon thousands, across the span of a month. You want to use additional LLM calls and different things in order to gather additional data. So what happens is, for these evaluations, you can come and set up specific things that you want. Now, for this particular agent that's in production out on the street, this thing books jobs, right? It's the main focus of this particular bot. So if I click on this criteria here, and I go to the prompt tab, which we'll make a new one from scratch here so you can show it here. There is a metric that you set, which is binary. This is pass fail. The job booked or it didn't book, right? It's clear as day. True, false, basic evaluation. Determine whether the customer successfully booked a job by the end of the conversation. The pass description, appointment confirmed, check, was said by the agent towards the end of the conversation, because I actually have a manual message coming through after a bunch of functions get called, and I know that the job actually gets hit on the back end. Fail description, no mention of appointment confirmed. So I can look at the results, and what's cool, as I scroll on the right-hand side, I can see what the evaluations are. No mention of appointment confirmed. Customer successfully booked a job, check mark. You can see the evaluation here and the pass fail for each one, as well as the credit consumption for each of these evaluations. Now, I just have 4.1 mini. If you look at the model, just have 4.1 mini sitting on this prompt. I don't need that much processing LLM brain power in order to do this. Each one of these evaluations is less than 1 credit. So it's nice that we're able to see, okay, these evaluations are obviously not free. We're using Voiceflow credits from the account in order to gain this information. But what is great is we have an analytic window on the evaluation itself. So since July 28th, 28 conversations have happened with this agent, and 25% of them have led to book jobs, right? Not bad. So we've had 7 or 8 book jobs in the past couple of days, which is cool. You can toggle, this is just a toggle to turn these on and off if you want to turn the evaluation off for whatever particular reason. Well, okay, let's do this. Was the job bookable? Right? Okay, is 25% good? I don't know. How many of these jobs were considered bookable? Right? What if somebody just comes in and wants to leave a review, like or ask about an existing appointment? That's not a bookable job. They already have an appointment. So they're not going to dox the chatbot and penalize its, booking score based on something that had no chance of booking in the first place, right? So this is a different prompt. This is a different prompt, still the same metric, right? It's binary. It's either bookable or not bookable. And then you throw some examples in this criterion prompt and you try to craft the evaluation that you want. And just like before, you can hover. Yes, this is a bookable job. Transcript shows genuine interest in scheduling. Garage door repair service. This one didn't. The transcript contains the user canceling an existing appointment. So, pretty useful stuff. Summarize conversation. Here's the one that's different. This metric is text. And then some examples of how I want it to summarize the conversation. Okay. Let's make a new one together. New evaluation. Now they have a customer sentiment one already filled out for you. It's like a satisfaction score as well as another one. And that's a rating. So this rating is some sort of range. Evaluates a transcript by rating it between a range like 1 to 5. And then it's got minimum values and maximum values. So these are numeric scores that you can set. But I want to do text again. I want a customer sentiment, but I want positive, negative, and neutral, right? Because sometimes the LLM doesn't do the best job of scoring this numerically. So I just want to give it an idea and see what happens basically. I want you to evaluate the transcript and determine the customer sentiment. Output one of 3 items: positive, neutral, negative. If you cannot determine the customer sentiment based on their tone, then you should output neutral. The customer seems generally pleased with the conversation. Output positive. If the customer seems frustrated, leaves early, or asks, seems frustrated, leaves early, output negative. So let's see what happens here. Now, you can also use AI to help you craft this. That's what this little lightning bolt inside of Voiceflow is. Clicking test on a transcript, it's kind of interesting because when you click on it, okay, customer sentiment is positive, but I have no idea which transcript this just got tested on. So this is kind of a strange interaction, I feel like. I would anticipate if I click this button that it would maybe have a sidebar and list the 5 most recent transcripts, and then I could click it and see what the I have no idea if this was the correct thing to do. It's good for me. It didn't say positive and then a bunch of additional letters and numbers or explanation and sentences. So, I mean, it's good from a quick syntax check. But other than that, I'm not really sure the usefulness of that particular button. Well, watch what happens when we create this evaluation, okay? Create evaluation. So results, no results, because no new transcripts have come in yet. So what you have to do is you have to go back to the transcript page, and they've got a batch run evaluation. Now, I only have 3 evaluations. I can hover across each one of these and see what the evaluation executed to. But remember, we now have 4 evaluations. We just created a new one together, which is customer sentiment. Now, I can batch run this new evaluation, which is customer sentiment, and it's going to say, all right, run on 28 transcripts, which is the existing ones I have outstanding. Now you can filter these. If I don't want to run these on all 28, for whatever reason, you only wanted to run it on a subset, I click run. Now it's going to let me know, hey, by the way, if you do this, it's going to consume this many credits, which is smart. There's only 28 transcripts in here from the last couple of days, but you can imagine, let's fast forward through 6 months, and this thing has 2,000 transcripts in it. Like, you start batch running LLM stuff on this, there's a decent chance that you're going to start consuming a good chunk of tokens. So I appreciate this heads up. By the way, before you click this button, understand what you're about to do. Yes. And it's going to start running. Batch run complete. If you click see results, now for the same evaluation, you can click through positive, positive, negative. This is spam. See, it's another thing. So this brings up another good point. Like, if you come in here and you review these evaluations, you might realize I didn't actually get the output that I want. Like, the quality of the score or like, this isn't really negative. This is a spam conversation, which I actually need to like start filtering these a little bit better on my particular end, but that's an action item for me. This is incorrect. This is not a negative. Okay. So I would need to go back into my prompt and say, basically like, hey, if this is spam, like, I'll make it neutral or make it no conversation or do something else. Right. But if I like, maybe it's 4.0 mini. I forgot. I normally switch this to 4.1 mini. Let's say I switched the model. Let's say I wanted 4.1 or 4.0 or Claude 4 Sonnet, and I wanted to use a bunch of tokens on this because I really need the accuracy of this to be high. When you go in and make this adjustment, there's no way for me to rerun the batch evaluation on this. If I click customer sentiment again, run on 0 transcripts, right? And that is because all 28 of these have already been evaluated by this, okay? And the only thing that I can do to change this, if I want to do this again, is go into the evaluation and actually delete this here, create it again, and then batch evaluation another time. So I actually already talked to the Voiceflow team, and they've mentioned that they're going to modify this so that you have the ability to rerun evaluations, right? Let us spend more tokens, like, please, because I promise you, like, you're going to go through these, you're going to set these up, then you're going to look through the evaluations and you're going to be like, like I still have a conversation summary that's still coming in weird. That's like randomly evaluating to good, which it doesn't make any, like, summarize conversation, service request. It's like, all right, that was like this is a good summary. This is a good summary. This is a good summary. I'm going to find it. There's one that's like, it just keeps like output's good. Of course, I'm now going through this live. Here we go. Summarize conversation. Good. Like, what? Like, where is that coming from? It's really strange. So any of you that have worked with LLMs and like across like large data sets, you're going to have this stuff like pop up, and you really have to spend a decent amount of time, effort, and energy really fine tuning what you want in order to gain things. But the important thing is we now have the ability to do all of this stuff on platform automatically as the transcript generates, which is huge because, like I said, what I was doing before was a lot of like, all right, every X amount of minutes, I'm going to go through, I'm going to hit this post request, I'm going to look at this transcript, then I'm going to wait, and I got to make sure that the conversation is actually finished, so I have to handle that. You got to do all this extra stuff. It's really nice that this stuff is being baked into the platform because now we can just gain a lot of useful information and analytics based on the conversation that these agents are having, which will help us with our value proposition and showing these businesses it's like, hey, this is actually doing a really good job. It's doing this. Like, here's why. Here's the data to back that up. One other thing I wanted to go through real quick is just some of the API changes here. So if you go into the Voiceflow docs here and click on the Transcripts API, all of the legacy transcript stuff is still here. So all of these are still online. But if I take this off, I've now got to get new post request for get all project transcripts. And in the transcript response, you can see the evaluations are actually showing up now in the response. Get transcript with logs. It's giving you, there's way more information in here there was previous. Also very helpful. You can now filter conversation. If you set this Boolean to true, it will reduce the amount of stuff that's coming into this transcript. That way it is easier for you to actually extract just the conversation. Like looking at some of my flows, the amount of stuff that I am filtering and parsing through just to extract it, it's just like a waste of processing power. So this coming out will help reduce some of my workflows greatly and let me get to the meat and potatoes that I want quicker. All right, transcript properties. If we go back to this particular tab, we've got platform, user ID, credits. The from is, if this is a voice, it'll give you the actual phone number in here, the evaluations. So each one of these things, excuse me, are considered transcript properties. And there are endpoints now for you to be able to access this information specifically. That way you can do stuff with it and extract it. Like I've been spending a lot of time, effort, and energy and setting stuff up outside of the platform that's viewable because you have all these team members that want to be able to look and see all this stuff inside of this agent, and like logging into Voiceflow, all this stuff like that. It's just, sometimes it doesn't make a ton of sense. So the ability for all of this stuff to be accessed and placed in additional locations is great. So you can go and get individual transcript properties. Like if you wanted to get just the usage cost, that way you could start aggregating and, you know, making your own data on how much usage consumption is for this particular agent. Or maybe you want to get even more granular, which is this particular type of conversation. It's like, let's see how expensive this is versus something else. Like there's just a lot of stuff in here that we did not have access to before, which it's a win. It's a win for us because we can do more stuff now. If you needed to update or create a new transcript property, you can also do it from the API here. I think that if I remember reading something correctly, they talked about making this available through the dashboard as well for creating like new properties, unique properties. Like feel free to correct me on that if I am wrong, Voiceflow. But either way, this is just allowing you to add unique tagging, specific properties, furthering whatever you need to do to filter to gain the data that you want. The evaluations API is now new. So all of the stuff that we saw here is now, you can now access it also through the API, and you can actually force run a particular evaluation for a transcript and get a response back, which I'm sure I'm going to be using. This is all like, the amount of work that just got like thrown onto my plate because of this update, I'm like, man, I have my task list is just like, it's just growing all over the place because it's like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. So I am sure that I will probably have like a decent example of me doing this out in the wild at some point, hopefully over the next couple of weeks. But either way, this is a long time coming, nice quality of life change from Voiceflow. So hats off. Thank you for all of this stuff and for giving me more work. But I'm curious what you guys particularly think about this, and is there anything that you would like to see in this particular regard? But I'm anticipating, expecting that hopefully that we can start extracting a lot of this information and basically have the ability to make custom dashboards for clients, and just have, all of the things that they want to know, that their agents are online and working. There's the sky is the limit. Like, we're getting to the point where it's like, what else can we add on here? So it's all about finding what is the right user experience for us as builders, and more importantly, managers, as more of these come online. There's going to be a lot of people that are looking through and coming through and adjusting things for these businesses. Like, this is not going away. Like, agent management is going to become very in demand, even for people that aren't necessarily building. You're going to have to understand like what's going on in these agents and in these platforms, and how you can converse what the ROI is to these businesses and how it is helping them. It's like, hey, for this particular one, I've had 28 conversations in the past couple of days. It's 28 times that the phone didn't ring, right? Chatbot just talked to your customer. And so, anyways, curious what you guys think. I think this is great. Talk to you guys soon. Happy building. Later.